Bird, 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 bird. Get him. Yeah! Ron Babe was right. Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. Hey everybody, it's Ron Bain with the Hunting Dog Podcast. It is, 10th of January. I know it's a couple days late. I usually leave these out on Sunday, but hey, life gets in the way sometimes, and believe me, life got in the way. I want to thank my Patreon patrons, as I always do, first and foremost, and let you know, this Thursday, if my liver survives Wednesday, because Wednesday's a big night for me, I got another thing I got to tell you about. We'll have a Zoom room, and I'm going to have some video of a project I'm working on, and I want my Patreon patrons to watch it and give me some interjection. Be some 2, 3, 4-minute clips. I'll wait till everybody gets in the Zoom room, and I want to show you something I've been working on, and I think it's really, really cool. It's not anything to do with the Upland Institute. It's not anything to do with Meat Eater. It's a project I've been working on for a couple years, and we're just getting ready to do some launching on it. And I'm going to share it with who? My Patreon patrons first. Yeah, exactly. Pike Gear is my title sponsor, and you know what they make. Come on. Why don't you just say it with me? Technical clothing for the upland hunter. I wear it to the point of where it has to fall off my body because it's just what I wear. It's comfy, it's light, it's durable. I would not suggest using that or many other clothings around a high-speed grinder wheel, which I found out again last weekend. Not a good idea. Okay, other than that, you could rely on Pike Gear to get you some stuff for this season coming up, this training season, this hunting season, this rainy season. Whatever you got, they've got it. Onyx maps, I don't even know where to start. I have a whole new, oh God, I can't. Okay, anyway, Onyx, everybody knows they came up with the Apple Play or the Android Play for the truck. You're going to hear about that. We're going to talk about that on this podcast because I got a hold of Ben and Andrew, who are my contacts through Onyx, and we did a little recap of their season, their dogs. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. Can't tell you everything else we're doing. Not with Onyx, but I mean, it's just, I'm so excited. You could just tell. I'm a blithering idiot as usual. But you cannot, if you don't here's the deal. Just make sure you come to Pheasant Fest. Okay, there's the hint. Come to Pheasant Fest. #Onyx. Okay, that's all. And while you're there, while you're at Pheasant Fest, I am sure you're going to come to the Boss Shot Shell booth. Of course you will, because you want to be able to knock the birds down when most people can't. And that's what you're going to get. In fact, I was just on the phone with my buddy Ed Arnett, who decided to take his grandpa's 410. And him and I literally have we're about the same age. And we have these old single-shot hardware store 410s. We were supposed to hunt together last year with them, and we didn't make it happen. But Ed made it happen. And, of course, he used Boss 410 copper-plated bismuth. He says, if I could get somebody to make me you can find a side-by-side 410, but you'd have to mortgage your house for it or sell one of your children. But I don't care what gun you shoot, you could put a Boss shot shell in it, and you're gonna do better, psychologically even. Walton's, you think you're a good cook or a bad cook or a half-ass cook, you don't have to think that anymore. Go to Walton's, find out what you need, from their spices to their equipment, everything, right down to their aprons, right down to their hat. Well, you don't need the hat to be a good cook, but an apron, a spatula, a sausage stuffer, a meat slicer. It goes on and on, and Walton's goes on and on and on and on. Gunner Kennels is, everybody knows what they are. I don't need to go on and on about it, but I'm going to be at Pheasant Fest, and Gunner is going to be sending me some kennels I'm not going to be able to get any of the gunner personnel there. They are swamped. They are busy. But my buddy Luke is going to set me up with some food crates, some kennels. We're going to have giveaways. We're actually going to be at Pheasant Fest. We're going to take 2 gunner food crates, and we're going to cut a hole in the front of them on the lid, and we're going to have cornhole for conservation. We're going to use gunner food crates like cornholes, except you ain't going to have no slide. You better be good. Come to Pheasant Fest and play cornhole for conservation. We're going to give the money to Pheasants Forever, and it's going to be supplied by Gunner Kennels. And just to know, we'll give those boxes away, and Gunner's going to send me some extra lids so we can screw out the ones we screwed up with drilling a hole in them. And, yeah, but that's how Gunner is. They take care. They support everything we do, just like Garmin does. Garmin's been supporting us forever in the electronic world of dogs. Let alone aviation, let alone the people who go fishing, which I don't understand. So don't have the time for it. But if there's anything you need besides what goes around your dog's neck, Garmin's got it. They do, absolutely. And W, I love when I segue into W from Garmin. W Hunting Supply, that's double, D-O-U-B-L-E, U, the letter U, Hunting Supply. If you Google it, it's DU Supply, which sounds like DU. It's not. W Hunting Supply. You can get all your Garmin products. You can get any product you want. If you're one of those people who stick with another brand, you're still going to get the best service from W. My deck drawer system, I just found a whole nother layer of, they sent me 2 new totes that fit in there. And I have never, remember I told you how my deck drawer system's like my major junk drawer? They're turning me into an anal retentive gear junkie. Now I have 5 different totes and gear bags that fit perfectly in my deck drawer system. I don't know. I probably won't be able to find anything because I won't know what tote it's in. But the deck drawer system is a game changer. And I know everywhere I go, I don't know if there's even 3 more listeners that don't have it, but if you don't, you should. If you don't have a Weatherby shotgun, you know what to do. Besides listening to me, besides wanting to get a good shotgun for next season or this training season, transitioning into hunting season, Weatherby's going to have a booth just kitty corner from me at Pheasant Fest, and come see what they've got. That's all I can tell you. Weatherby will be at Pheasant Fest. Is that because of me? I don't want to take the credit for that. I will tell you, Purina's going to be there because of me, but that's a bunch of bull, because Purina has been at Pheasant Fest forever. They have the bird dog stage. They do everything out there for us dog people, from the hound guys to the agility to the dock divers to the show rings to NAVDA to NASTRA to AKC, UKC, you know what I'm saying. Purina is there for us. Give your dog something good to eat. Don't fiddle fart around with albatross and woodchuck recipes. It's not necessary. Talking about recipes though, Wilderness Athlete, Canine Athlete. Canine Athlete makes products for your dog, supplements. I take supplements. Now that I'm on Medicare, it's so cool. I get $80 a month to go buy vitamins because I'm not on any medication, because for some reason smoking and drinking is not unhealthy for you, because I'm living proof of it. But for Medicare, I get this additional $80 a month. So I've been buying these vitamins and a couple little just extra toothbrushes. It's amazing. But I'm telling you what, you are not going to go wrong by giving your dog a little supplement. From Canine Pro to Blue Dog and Hydrate and Recover. Sorry, I'm prepping up for a visit here from a guest I'm going to have on in a couple weeks, or you'll hear it in a couple weeks. One Matt Ranella. He's in town visiting his mom, and he's coming over tomorrow night. And I'm trying to prep up for this. And sorry, I get a little yeep, 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 yeep. Anyway, I love you guys. I love you girls. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Andrew Willard and Ben Brannington. I'll tell you what, if I could go back in the time machine, I think you'll hear me say it on the podcast, or like just reduce my age, I would apply for a job. These guys still get their work done in Onyx, and they've had a fantastic season with some new dogs, some of the old dogs, all over the country. You know what? It just shows you. Onyx is, it's not just like, they're not just selling you something. They walk the walk. They talk the talk. Anyway, hope you enjoy this episode. And I hope I see you at Pheasant Fest. If there's any way you can make it to Minneapolis, it is going to be the best time of the year. And almost all my sponsors are going to be there. In fact, Jack from Gumleaf Boots is coming back this year. Yes, good old Jack. We're going to be there. He'll give you a shoe footing. He'll give you a foot massage. Jack will do anything to show you what Gumleaf Boots are all about. Oh, I cannot wait. 4 weeks away, and I got to get 3 more podcasts done. Love you guys. Love you girls. Always love you girls more.
Before we do that,
This meeting is being recorded.
Got it. Hey, everybody. It's Ron Bain with the Hunting Dog Podcast. I'm on the Zoom call with 2 of my favorite fellers, Ben Bennington and Andrew Willard from Onyx. I just want to do a little recap because I see these Onyx commercials coming out, guys. Like now it's got Apple Play on the car. Now, are you going to be liable for, coming off? If I have that on my car and I'm hitting the rumble strips, can I tell the police that I was navigating on my, is that legal now? Is that part of it?
yeah, you just give them my number and then we'll get it all sorted out.
All right, good. I think it probably should emphasize for use on back roads only, right? Right. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not telling you how to use it. You just be safe.
It's pretty cool. Andrew, tell us when did that launch, Andrew?
We turned that on in late December.
Uh-huh.
And it's been a labor of love. You'd be surprised how much work and so forth was involved in bringing that experience to life. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, at least for me, like growing up, like how much time did you spend driving around in your truck, watching birds and deer and geese and ducks flying around? And then your first question is, well, whose property is that? So,
right.
Now you know.
Oh yeah. No, that, because literally how many people have been asking that for what, pretty much since you started it, or how long have people been saying, can we get it on our dashboards?
It's obviously it's picked up in the last few years as, more vehicles are getting CarPlay and Android Auto.
Yeah.
So it just continuously climbs.
Yeah.
With more vehicles on the road that have it.
What was difficult, because I think like, well, my phone Bluetooths to my screen. What was the obstacles with that without getting super tech nerdy?
Well, so it's an entirely different platform to develop on. So it's not, it's almost like a different product in and of itself. You're not designing for a mobile device. Yeah. And then on top of that, there's, it's almost like a navigation product, right? And so there's, the experience you have in using CarPlay is slightly different than it is using the mobile app. It's more tailored again towards driving and for you being able to see and track at a glance while driving. And then of course, there's also consideration you have to give to things you shouldn't want people to do while they're driving their car, right? There's some constraints around, like you can't actually engage with a lot of the features you have in the mobile app, but at the same time, you don't want your experience while you're driving around to be cluttered up and complex. So
yeah. When I said that kind of tongue in cheek, I think it's a much better option than somebody driving like this and looking like this.
Right.
I mean, navigation has been on the screens of vehicles for I don't know how many dozen years, right? I mean, my wife would not be able to go anywhere if her navigator didn't come up on her little screen on her Ford. So that was launched in December. Now is that, and again, I should have known all this before we hit record, so I don't sound as dumb as I usually do. Is that something you get with the Elite membership? Is it a separate thing? How does it work for Onyx members?
As long as you have a membership to Onyx, whether it's premium or Elite, You plug it in, connect it to your CarPlay, and it'll work. Obviously the same constraints. Elite, you get a whole lot more than you would with Premium, but yes, you can see it on your.
Gotcha. So it's not nothing additional. It's just a new feature added then, basically.
Yep. As long as you updated the most recent version, whether you plug it in or you connect it via Bluetooth, that you go to your apps and that icon, that red X will show up, and you click it and you're off to the races.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think our job is to meet our customers where they're at, right? Like we want you to be able to scout and hunt in the right environment and context for you. And so for the longest time, that's been on your laptop, on your phone, on a tablet. It started on a GPS unit, right? And now that's extending to vehicles. And so we want to be present with hunters in the situation and environment where they need to use our product.
Yeah. So, and this is another, I don't want to say softball question. Once I get my new truck and that's working, can you plug in an address and they'll just take you like an old school navigator does too? Like,
not today. No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So it's not like just the navigator on the car that, shows you the streets. It's based on the same mapping that you have internally in Onyx. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. What you should be able to see is your location, and then names, obviously, of public and private landowners. And then depending on what layers you have turned on in the app, you can see walk-in access, and you can see, you get sort of a simple and easy to digest view of what you would have been doing in the mobile app.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Any other secrets coming up? Are you guys going to the moon tomorrow or anything? Are you going to map the moon for us next year? What else is coming up? Anything we can talk about?
My side business is I'm selling plots of land on the moon. So nice. If you're interested.
Sure. Send me an email after we're done. But really, I wanted to do that just because I know people have heard about it and seen it on Instagram. I mean, that's really cool that you guys, it's like always one more thing for whoever's an outdoorsman. It really is. Yeah. I don't think anybody has ever thought that deep about, what else we could do? I mean, I think Onyx is literally, people have asked and you're like, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, we should layer that. It's crazy how, like I said, it's crazy how you can dial it into anything. I imagine one day it'll be an Onyx map just for soccer moms to go to soccer fields all over the country. It'll have every soccer field. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, only if the soccer field has a flock of geese sitting on it.
Well, of course. All right, what I really want to do is catch up because I didn't get to. I do get to talk to Ben on an occasional hunting dog podcast trivia, but and he's got a couple wins behind his belt there. But I haven't heard anything about seasons because we don't see each other or talk really in November, December. Maybe Ben, you want to touch on that? How was your season? Where'd you go this year?
It was a fantastic year, kind of all across everything. Whether I started in Montana in September and then just chasing Sharpies and Huns. Other than it just being brutally hot, birds were fantastic. Cover was better than last year. So that was on the up and up. In terms of grouse, Minnesota and Wisconsin, probably the best grouse numbers I've seen in my life. And wow. I'm not that old, but right. Pretty incredible for coming off that 10-year cycle, as well as having that terrible wet spring. Like it was pretty astounding. And then from there, just hunted a little bit for pheasants across North Dakota, South Dakota, and a little bit in Minnesota. And then in early December, I went out to eastern Montana and hunted pheasants out there, and that was cold as hell. That was pretty brutal. And then from there, actually went out to Oregon and chased mountain quail, valley quail, and chukar. And that was an unbelievable trip. It was, I had never been hunting any of those species before. And it was, especially chukar hunting. Chukar hunting I didn't think I'd like it that much. It looked like, to be honest, too much work.
Yeah.
it got in my blood pretty quick. So, yeah,
So
that was
it's not that silly old. You hunt them the first time for fun and the second time for you. You really you could see where somebody gets hooked on that, huh?
Oh yeah, it's cool because the terrain is just gorgeous. Obviously, you're hunting in the mountains, but then, lends itself well to big running dogs. You can watch, you can see the dog damn near the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see a dog streaking across the hillside at 500-600 yards, and yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. So I'm gonna get out there again, but 24 hours of driving that's a lot of damn driving.
Honestly, I get ever since I started this podcast, I get I get invites everywhere, and I've taken a few total strangers up on some hunts, Iowa, Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, but yeah, that leap to go beyond the Mountain, that's the part of me that like I just don't know if I want to be in a car that long to do that. Like that's a chore.
Yeah, and then it's like to bring the dogs out and all your gear, and if I'd go to Oregon again, I think I might just fly out there. But certainly, obviously, closer opportunities, whether it's Idaho or Wyoming. So I'll be doing it again. Just I don't know if I can drive well, I shouldn't say that because I'm going to do New Mexico and Arizona here in a couple of weeks, and that's a 26 hour drive. So I can't say I won't do it again because
you're just in a different direction. It's a different direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's downhill because you're going south.
Exactly.
So
you'll get better gas mileage. Andrew, first of all, I want to catch up because you and I and your wife Rachel, we did that podcast and caught up on after the successful testing season and your hunting season. But I got to go back to how much PTO time does he have to take off, or is it all just Onyx time when he's hunting? Is that what it is?
Are you asking me about Ben?
Yeah, because he won't tell me the truth.
I think there's a mix in there, right? What I will say is I don't think there's a day where Ben bird hunts where he isn't also working.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like there wasn't a day this past fall where I knew Ben was hunting and reached out for something, and it was like that, so, including this is my favorite. Ben and another coworker of ours, we had a call to discuss something. Ben took the call live while pheasant hunting, and like while talking on the phone, shot a limit of pheasants and a sharp tail. And was productive the entire time working and hunting. So it can be done. I cannot claim Ben's level of talent, but it can be done.
Well, so basically then what Ben's job, he was basically working from home. It's just home was in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
As I recall, we got a lot done on that call. It was a great phone call.
We did get a lot done. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something you didn't see 20 years ago for damn sure. So Andrew, where did your season start off? Did you stick around home? Did you go anywhere?
Yeah, so we started off in Western Montana with mountain grouse, and maybe similar to Minnesota and Wisconsin, the numbers this year were spectacular. It was so cool. So we had, my wife and I both shot the grouse slam in Montana, but we also both had a day where we shot all 3 mountain grouse species.
Wow.
In one day, which is cool. So we started off there, getting up high because it was cool. And then we joined Ben on the prairie where it was scorching hot, chased sharpies and hunts for a little bit, and then came back. And so we spent the rest of September out chasing grouse in Western Montana. And then October, drove out and hunted in North Dakota for the pheasant opener, and then met Ben in Minnesota and did grouse and woodcock in Minnesota, which was cool. Something I'd never done before, so it was great to get to experience that and learn how to walk in the North Woods, because I was like, what is this? Ben was swimming through it it took me about a day to learn the technique, another half a day to learn how to swing my gun without hitting a tree branch. Yeah. And then the last half day was great.
You have to figure your gun is more like a pitchfork. It's not a broom. you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta find that hole, you know.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. That's a great analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the amount of times on that trip while I was trying to figure out like how to take a step, and like birds would get up and then my gun would hit a tree so I couldn't swing on them. Like I don't know how many birds I missed, Ben, but it took a while. So I have a great appreciation now for grouse hunting. Is just a different ball game for those of you that are doing it out there.
When I was asking Ben about chucker hunting being addictive, it's weird too because grouse hunting can be addictive. It is. You take somebody that doesn't like it and they're just, they could be a great hunter, you know, and they could have a great dog, but there's some people that be like, look, I just don't need to duck, you know, the whole day and dodge around stuff. Did you get to take, I would assume, Andrew, you took your new dog out? Or
I took both. Yeah. We like both puppies got to go everywhere and do everything. So they got exposed to just about everything this year.
How did they do?
They did great. I think the difference in grouse hunting out there was less of a difference for them because they like running in that cover. They ran better running on grouse in the Northwoods than they did running on the prairie, just because we've done so much mountain grouse hunting up here. So I think it was at least similar enough for the dogs where they ran, at least in my estimation, way more confidently.
Yeah.
In like the really dense cover than they did on the prairie, at least to start.
Yeah. People don't, I don't think people realize, unless they've done a fair amount of both, that there's some acclimation time for a dog. And then some dogs literally don't get it, you know, and that could be a lack of training. It could be a dog that, you know, I think as most of us out there, not everybody's hunting with a steady to wing shot and fall dog. That's a lot of work, right? But as long as you have a staunch dog that lets you get in on the action, you know, you're going to get a shot off. But that dog out west, he could probably do a few more things. And with popcorn sharp tails, the end shots of result is a win. It's in the W column, but the dog might not have really done what he should have. And in the woods, it's kind of like everything's got to be right in the woods because you're in the woods. You know? Yeah. You know, it's a different approach. It's everything's different about it.
It is.
Yeah, you take away your eyesight. It's like on the prairie, it's like when a dog does something, you can see it, right? It's like, okay, this dog did this, now I'm going to respond. But in the woods, it's like, I don't know what happened. Dog stopped for 5 seconds and then kept going. It's like, I don't know what happened.
And if you've got a buddy or a partner 30 yards to your side, they don't know what's going on. You know, it's a different thing. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Are you going to drag yourself back to the North Woods again then, Andrew?
Ooh, if I can, I hope so. I said I liked it. I think, again, I grew up addicted to mountain grouse hunting. And so grouse hunting in general is a big passion of mine. So I'd love, if I could get back out to do it now that I know how to walk in it. A lot of fun. But we spent, so after that, we spent most of the rest of October and November, big game season opened up. And so when we weren't elk hunting, we were taking the dogs out and chasing, we deer hunt early in the morning and in the evening, and then chase pheasants and sharptail during the day. So pretty much every weekend we're out with the dogs doing that, trying to stretch them out. And then, did that basically through Christmas. And then my wife and I with another coworker went out and hunted chucker for the first time in Idaho over New Year's. And like Ben, got that in our blood. That is so cool. What a just unique style of hunting.
Yeah, I can only see it in pictures. I can't imagine it. Did you find when people say, were you ever worried about the dog in certain, cliffs or hills? Was there a little of that,
So I asked Ben that before I went, are you these dogs are running ridges and cliff tops? What do you think? And the conclusion was well, none of Ben's dogs ran off a cliff first. So good sign. The second was it's sort of all the dogs have a self-preservation instinct and you got to kind of trust them. So I think we were a little worried until we saw him running in it. And then it was no big deal. I mean, we had, multiple times, both of my dogs go on point on the edge of a cliff. And then obviously they wanted to get down to where the chucker were, but they just had to back up and think about how to get down there. So
Yeah. Well, you know, when you see some of those Instagram photos of the hound with a lion on a cliff edge, and most of those live, our bird dogs are, let's hope our bird dogs are just a little bit smarter. You know, they don't want to stand I saw one the other day on Instagram. I had to turn it off. I could not stand watching this dog on this cliff as the lion would strike at him. The dog would just, 5 steps backwards. And I'm like, buddy, your back foot's coming off. Come off. But that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Now, Ben, you had a young dog too, right? You've got your older draughts, but your pointer is just a year and a half?
Yeah, he'll be 2 years old here in February. So
Okay.
this is his second season. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, he performed very well this year. I broke him. I started breaking him last summer and kept him broke pretty much throughout the trial season in the fall. And, it kind of unravels a little bit as you hunt a little bit, but
yeah,
he performed. It was, it's one of the reasons why I really got back into grouse hunting, and like that is what I would, if I could pick a hunt right now, I want to go out grouse hunting, just different animal running in the woods. Yeah. And it's been pretty fun.
How much do you think now, and I'm sure most people know what you say when you say broke, that's old school field trial talk for a steady dog, completely steady, correct? And I've had dogs to that level twice in my life because I needed to do a test. And I know what you mean. It slides back a little bit, but never slides back enough to kind of interfere with the getting of game. Or did you see any slide backs that far back, like almost like losing their wheels off the wagon? Or do you think that paid off?
I think it's, well, so he's a pointer. So I think it's different for different breeds of dog. Him, for example, Amos, he really could care less about actually putting a bird in his mouth. Like if he sees it fall, and then he'll go run after it and grab it and sit there. But I don't want him to retrieve. So most of the time it's like his reward is finding the bird, going on point, standing there. And then, I will walk up to him and release him, and he's off like a prom dress going to find another bird.
Right. And totally different than the Drahtars, right? They're like, so I'm going to say I'm going to assume from what you're saying is steadying up the Drahtar with that heavy retrieve instinct. That's just like another level that you got to get past the dog's head. And you've had your Drahts steadied back in the day.
I did, yeah. And it was, and granted, I didn't know as much as I know now. I think that, as you progress and learn more, you get better at it, obviously. But I had them broke for the VGP. But they know the difference between trialing, testing, and hunting, and to do it now, I could do it, but it's like, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot. If they'll hold birds, I can shoot them, especially for pheasants. Like that's, you're saying like that. I want, as soon as that bird hits the ground, I want that dog to be not very far behind it, because I would lose a lot more birds if that was the case.
Especially pheasants. Yeah. There's an advantage to a dog that certainly is staunch. And so people know staunch is just steady to you getting there and doing your job. Everything else is wing shot, fall, and all the other stuff. Going back to Andrew's, you're kind of working with 2 rookies, right, Andrew? This is
very much so.
Did you, because you didn't need it for natural ability, are you working at some steadiness this year? Are you going to work on some steadiness, even though it's, let's say, not required other than being staunch? Are you going to work on it?
We're going to start to, yeah. And actually, Ben's a good mentor in that regard. So we've had a lot of conversations on that. This season though, nope, we're trying to encourage as much bird fun and drive as possible. And especially since my dogs spend a lot of their time grouse hunting in the woods, the back half of our season, we're trying to encourage them to stretch out on the prairie, right? And go as far, I don't care if you go on point for a second and bust them. I want you ranging and running confidently and running big. So we'll start that steadiness stuff probably later in the summer as they mature a little bit more.
Yeah. And that's just,
And
go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
I was gonna say, and Andrew, I give you a ton of credit because, like, a lot of people, the idea is, you don't want to shoot at anything but pointed birds, right? And the puppies, and that's, good intentions meet reality a lot of the times, and your desire to shoot birds overtakes that. But I'll give Andrew a ton of credit because, like, you were good about that. You and Rachel both were good about that all year, is only shooting pointed birds, even when it's like tough days and it's like, I just need to shoot something. So that was, that was very impressive.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we did it. Yeah. Days this season were measured by, like, I have one bird and, 10 plus got away because the dog didn't point. Though I will say I'm not perfect. And there were a couple obscenely fat, tasty looking roosters that got up between me and the dog at 5 yards, and I could not resist. They had to go.
Hey, there's no rules with pheasant hunting. Like, take pheasants and throw them out the window. How about them? All is fair in love and war.
Everybody's asked me, and when people interview me, what's your favorite bird? They think I'm going to say grouse, and I say it's pheasants because it's just it's like a bar fight. There is not another game bird out there that would literally let you light a cigar and talk to your friends and be an inch from your feet. Like, that doesn't happen with ruffed grouse, right? You could have a Mexican standoff if you stayed away long enough, but you're not going to walk. I mean, a pheasant could go down a fence row, double back and come back and still flush by your feet. I mean, they play by no rules, so I think it's okay. There's no.
I will say it was funny the first time I ran each pup on pheasants, actually, because to that point, right, they'd only seen Sharpies, Huns, and mountain grouse that are all holding pretty well, right? And I could tell when she went on point by her body language that she was like, "What the heck? That thing moved. They're not allowed to move. Like, why did it run?" You could tell she was so frustrated and confused, just trying to figure out, like, why doesn't this bird play by the rules that all the other ones do?
It's kind of like, what's not working? There should be a bird here from me. Yeah, I know Justin, his words on pheasants are, pheasants will ruin a good quail hunt in Kansas. When he goes out there, he wants to go quail hunting. He goes, damn pheasant will ruin a good quail hunt every time. They literally, I mean, the hens play by the rules, but it's like they know we can't shoot them. It's the one thing you get. Andrew, did you resist the temptation to run? Because how old's your older dog? It's a year and a half now? No, it's almost 2.
No, she's 11 months old.
The oldest one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think it was that young when you ran last spring or last summer.
Because she was, when we ran her in natural ability, she was 6 months.
Not
out of we sort of didn't have a choice because of the window she was born in. But they're 11 months and 7 months are the ages right now.
Did you resist running them together, or did you let them have a little bit of run together, or what? How did you do it?
Yeah, so we've only run them together if absolutely forced to, so if there was like plenty of evenings during the season, like after work, where it's like we have 45 minutes and we're just going to put them both on the ground because it's either they both hunt or not. Outside of that, we tried to run them individually so they can try to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was almost a year between them. They're almost like litter mates.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that is exciting. So Ben, you're heading down to Southwest. Is this a first for you down there?
I've spent I made one trip down to Arizona. It's been like 5 years ago now, so I haven't been down to the Southwest since then. And so I'm excited to go back after it and probably chase after a little bit of everything: gamble, scalies, probably some Merns as well. So I'll definitely Merns as well. So it should be a good trip.
What are you hauling the whole pack, or are you just bringing a specialist? What are you doing?
I'll have everything with me. I'll have my 3 with, and then I'm bringing a buddy of mine, George Lyle. I'm bringing his 4 down as well. So I'll have 7 dogs in tow. You know,
That's
I like to run them all at once personally. Like Andrew, 2 at a time. Hell with that, 7 at a time. Then
No,
you gotta find all the
Coverage.
right. Now we would only do that when I used to go to Dakota's way back in the day. We always left like, look, they're going to have to eat soon. We're going to have a beer soon. And we would release
Yeah.
the hounds, rarely successful, you know, but you could tell it's almost like they liked it because it's all day long. It's that one and the other 5 dogs are like, and you give them that end of the day run and I think you just see happy dogs. I don't think they care, you know, but
Yeah.
I saw that episode you did with George and Travis. That was fantastic. That episode on the flush you did.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was a super fun trip, and
The cowboy hats were a nice touch. I liked you. I could see right why you guys did that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get me a cowboy hat when I go out there. Heck yeah. That's good luck.
You can join the Rhinestone Cowboys.
Yeah, you look like the village people out there.
Exactly.
How about you, Andrew? Is season wrapped up, or are you trying to do anything else?
So the chucker season in Idaho goes through the end of January. So we for sure have 1, maybe 2 treks back out there to go chase them, and then after that, I think we'll be done.
Get back to work. So really, it sounds like both of you worked from home in the field this year. It sounds to me you can't be that many places. I wish I could go back in a time machine and work for Onyx. That would have been great.
No, we work a lot. The strategy, I think Ben and I basically both did this year, is like we saved up our PTO and basically instead of taking any big vacations through the year, just took Fridays off during hunting season.
Yeah, you can get a lot done that way.
You can get a lot done. It's harder to like long treks. It's tricky, but there's a lot you can do with 72 hours.
Oh yeah,
every week.
Yeah. That's just you guys got to commit to getting out there and doing it.
Yep.
All right. Any new dogs coming up down? I mean, Andrew and Rachel, you got 2 now. I can't imagine you throwing anything else at this age into the.
We're tapped out. I did tell Ben I'll take some of his older dogs. They can come in, and they have a standing invitation to come and stay anytime.
How about you, Ben? Because you're a little more loosey goosey with how many dogs. Are you thinking anything else, or are you just going to ride this wave for a bit?
No, that's no fun. So we have a 6-month-old daughter, so I wanted to give that a little time to cool off here, and then I've started to insert like little jokes like, oh yeah, we should get another dog. So this one might take a little longer. This one may take a year, but I'll add another pointer here, hopefully within the next couple of years.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, to give Ben the biggest shout out, he jumped on one of the trivia games from the hospital, and he wrote his answers on a bedpan. So he was all, well, it wasn't a bedpan, but it was some kind of paperwork from the
paper plate from the
hospital room. I couldn't believe he showed up there. But if your wife let you do that, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't have attempted it. Like, I don't know why I wouldn't have attempted it. And my hat's off for you to say, hey, honey, I just got to be an hour. I got to talk to these guys. I got to talk some more dog stuff with people.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to maintain my sanity.
Oh, hey, if I was a help, then good.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for everything you guys do with Onyx and the podcast and everything. Glad to catch up because I didn't know what you guys did all season unless I looked at your Instagram, and my daughter does most of that for me. So I really appreciate it, and we'll be talking soon.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
All right, let me hit the stop.